Bruce, how would you describe what Jack Eichel looks like when he's playing his most confident? And do you feel like that's what we're seeing these last couple games?
Well, I think he's been pretty consistent all year, to be honest with you. I mean, everyone's going to have a few ups and downs, but in general, he's been there. We can count on him every night. He looks at his best when he's transporting pucks, I think, through the neutral zone because he's helped kill a play in the D zone, right? Usually starts there. He's very good at that. So now we're getting on the attack and transition. I think that's when their line's at their best. A little more ozone against Dallas because they clogged the middle a lot. We basically had three guys inside the dots as forwards, so we had to play on the outside, but still found a way to score a goal at net front. So anyway, yeah, I think when he's moving from one end to the other and leaving people behind, that's when I know he's at his best. It usually starts in the D zone and something good happens at the other end. Usually a play, like a pass or a play. His goals have been a little more, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but that's when he's dishing pucks and drawing people to him, turn-ups, losing people, drawing two people to him, slipping it. That's when he's on.
Have you seen that take a step forward this season, his playmaking ability? It's always been there.
Well, it's always been there. It's just I think he's as healthy as he's ever been. I mean, only he can answer that, but he hasn't missed a game for us. Or I'm not even sure a practice, to be honest. So every day he's coming to the rink feeling good. And yeah, there's probably been a maintenance day here or there, or an optional he might not participate in. But so I think that was one of the biggest reasons. And also there's the expectation that he has to lead this team offensively a little more maybe than the past.
How much do you weigh that second period on Friday after playing as well as you did Thursday and then getting off a good start in the first period? Is the second period, do you think of it as just an abomination, or not an abomination, but maybe a blip on the radar when you look at the
Well, we didn't have a good 10 minutes. I mean, it's 2-2 halfway through the period. Kind of a low event first. That's fine. Dallas doesn't give you much. When we're at our best, we're the same. So each team gets a power play goal. And then we're fine. They score. We get another power. We're right there. And then the last, I don't know if it was 8, 9, they started taking it to us, and we got the wrong side of that, getting out of our end, exhausted, changing, and having to defend again. We couldn't get the momentum back. That's what we missed. We missed the ability to slowly turn the game back by establishing a few forecheck shifts, get out of our end, put them on their heels a little bit. It doesn't even have to be scoring chance. It just has to be give our D and our goalie a breather a little bit. And that didn't happen. So again, that was Chicago for a period at the end of period 1, I believe, where it was 5 minutes. So that is where we've got to get better. We got to get through those lulls in our game better. We did at the start of the year. We're not doing it as much now where they're scoring in bunches. And the best reason for that is we've got to defend a little better and closing our end a little quicker so we're not expending all our energy defending. We got to get going the other way. Again, it doesn't always have to have offense at the end of it, but it can't just be stuck in your end. And that's just an area we need to be better.
You talked earlier in November about how unusual it was to have a morning skate before an afternoon game. I know this was an optional, but why
it was optional today, yeah.
Yeah. Why was it important to get some guys out?
Well, that was their call. I just think it's our 4th game this week. We did travel. Not a late night time-wise, but Dallas is 3 hours, so your body clock's a little bit off. So I don't know yesterday how much, so we're just trying to allow them to make the call to be ready at 5 o'clock tonight. We're trusting them that, okay, if you need to get on the ice, get some touches, get the blood flowing, do it. If you're a little bit off, and we've had some guys sick too, Darren, where, maybe if that's the case, get your energy level where it needs to be tonight. Don't worry about this morning. Catch up with your legs by not being on the ice. I think that's the biggest thing. Sometimes when you're not on the ice for a day and a half, can you start on time? Sometimes you have more energy. Sometimes you have lots of energy, but you're clunky because you haven't been on the ice and your hands aren't there right away. So we got to balance that. And that's what we decided this morning.
I think Olofsson only played a couple of shifts in the third. On Friday, he skated this morning, but is he all right? More so?
He's fine. Yeah, we just we moved Pearson up. Howie, we narrowed it down to 3 lines. Sometimes that allows your team to get more of a rhythm, especially I thought we were starting to play better. So that's how we landed on it. He's back with Pav and Hurdle. Expect him to play regular shifts. Sometimes that's just gut instincts with the coach, and so that's what we decided.
This is obviously the best the power play has been in a while. Is there a noticeable difference in the feel on the bench when the other team commits a penalty now? Like this is our chance, maybe compared to other years, or does it feel the same?
I think the guys have more confidence because they've executed and produced, right? I think that's normal. When I can't say last year we didn't have confidence, but I'm just guessing that they go over the boards and they're chatting already about the entry the face-off. Is it 3-point pressure, 4-point pressure? Are they passive? What are we going to do? We're looking for a shot right away. A little more engaged too, maybe than last year. But I think it's confidence. They know what plays work for us, and they try to execute those in a certain order. And I think we've done a good job with that. Used everybody.
With the guys like Brisson and Lazinski and Holtz, are those decisions that are being made like based on those individual players, or is it sometimes opponent based that's making it?
No, more the individual players. I think with Brisson, he's been up before, and down in Henderson, uneven play, and sometimes a guy needs a break to get a call up, maybe re-energize him. So that was the thinking there. I thought with Holtz, they're similar type players when they're going, and maybe a reset for him watching a few games could help him. We'll find out. Lazinski was more middle of the ice. We lose Carly, we lose Schwinn. Don't forget center iceman, and then Howie's sick. So that was the impetus behind his recall, and he's their leading scorer there. He's played well. So, but we definitely need a centerman.
5-on-5. Been giving up quite a few more goals than you normally have. Like, what do you think specifically is going wrong? And is it in the D zone? Is it happening in offensive zone?
Well, I would say there's a number of factors. If you work from the goalie out, I don't think they've been as sharp as they were earlier. And I don't think we've cleaned out the net front as well. That happened the other night with Robertson. We've got bodies there, but we don't find the puck. The rebound, we got bodies back. We're not sorting out our net front slot coverage as well lately, and it's showing in the goals against. So I would say returning to D zone, coming into our end, sorting out, and then getting the job done net front. We got to be harder in the slot battle. PK is on one of those runs where I don't think we're doing a poor job. But pucks are like, look at the goal Hintz scored the other day, right? He's probably not scoring that goal again this year, but it happened to go in. And Buffalo late in the game, and Philly got one late. So some of these, they're kind of adding up from night to night, and I don't think they're major breakdowns. Yeah, these teams are going to make some good plays, but our penalty kill structure has been good, but those are adding up. You asked 5-on-5. I think our neutral zone defense has been fine. Structure, puck management will always play into it. I mean, that's part of why we score a lot too. So we're going to give up some the other way. But I'd say it's mostly in front of our net. We got to get back to being a stiffer group. It's in our DNA. It happens. And tonight we're going to need to be, because that's Florida. They're coming. They're coming inside. The pucks are going to arrive. So we better be on our toes and ready to put the work boots and the hard hats on and get it done.
Bruce, over the course of a long season, is a game like, and especially the team trying to get going, is this a game like this give you a little extra juice against the team you beat a couple of years ago to win the cup?
Well, I mean, there could be some built-in animosity, but they're in the East, so I think we look at it more as they are what we want to be and were. Does that make any sense to you? Like they're defending champs. We were that last year, so people are gunning for you. So they're going through some of that this year probably, that they're getting everybody's best. So we're used to that. We know how that works. Could it get us going? Yes. I think, games against Dallas and Edmonton, those are the ones for us, I think, on our side that should give us a little more juice, and we'll see that Tuesday. So we'll have a couple in a row, and that's okay. I think our guys tend to ride, we're okay with that. With challenges. So to answer your question, hopefully, yes, that is something in the back of their mind.
You talked a little bit about ice time Is that something in game that you're just focusing on? You don't worry about the next game and what the ice time, what the minutes in that game will do to affect the next game, or big picture? Do you just worry about the little picture?
No, I worry time and score. Can we get points out of this game? Do I feel like if we're behind, say, right? Because that's when the minutes sometimes add up for the top guys, because you're chasing it. Do I feel like we have the energy? Is the bench engaged? Are we generating where we can get back in this? And that in Dallas, as the third period went along, I felt we could. Guys, we got one, and now we're coming. I think the fact that we've scored late recently and been a good job with our 6-on-5, that also gives you confidence to know, hey, if you're within one with 3 minutes to go, we've got a chance. We're never out of it. We're doing a better job just keeping puck possession 6-on-5, supporting the puck and getting it back. Sometimes you got to get lucky too on the empty netters, right? They threw a couple at the net that didn't go in. Sometimes those go in and just takes all the wind out of your sails. But if it's a game I don't feel like we have the juice, then sometimes it's like we'll roll 4 lines and hopefully maybe a guy that's not an offensive producer comes through for us. Or sometimes just a fatigue level of you can sense it on your players. They don't have it, then maybe you can't push the button there. But typically, you're in the moment as a coach, right? It's just how we're wired. When we have the lead, I'd prefer to use everybody. I think it's great team building when everyone gets a chance to protect the lead. Maybe not as much as the next guy, but at least try not to shorten the bench in those situations. Use the guys that maybe don't check as well. Hopefully, you've got a read on what line's coming next for them, and you can at least control a bit of the matchup and where they start in the zone.
Your job is so much about your job is routine, and you've seen so many situations, but nobody has. You got to go back to Joe Thornton getting traded, that we've seen a trade that kind of seismic in the NHL. And so Brindamore has Mikko Jack was injured. He wasn't walking into the room the next day.
Sorry.
So Brindamore has Rantanen, arriving into his lineup, and Bednar is watching the moving trucks go down the road. Pretty different situation for those guys.
Well, I think there's attachment to players that are elite and help you win every night, and they want a Stanley Cup with, you know what I mean? Like I think, coaches sometimes, we're people, right? We get attached to people. Some are going to you have closer attachment, maybe you deal with them a little more every day. Maybe they've been there longer. Maybe you've watched them go from boys to men to fathers. There's a lot that goes into it. So I can imagine for Bedsy, that was a tough day, and his teammates that have been there right beside him. So how do you get over that in a hurry and get playing is the tough part. I think it's probably going to take Colorado a little bit, right, to sort of understand hey, this is the reality of the game right now. We got to get going, but it's not easy part of it, right? And then there's the adjustment on the ice. Look at the power play the other day. You got a righty like with McKinnon and Rantanen. They're so good at that. It's Kucherov and Stamkos, right? And you lose one of them, you got to regain that chemistry, but they know that. And as for Carolina, you get a jolt, right? Knowing that, hey, well, you can debate, right? Did they get the best player in the trade? Probably, right? I think it's fair to say Rantanen's the best player in the trade. No disrespect to I always say his name wrong. Natchez. And he's a good young player. So each team wins. I think they both get good players, but I think if you're Carolina, you're excited because hey, it sends a signal, hey, we're trying to get better, believe in our team, et cetera. So that's how Roddy probably feels about it. Taylor Hall goes in, he's a veteran guy, so he probably looks at they got better, right? So that's important.